Hello from myself. I'm Millie. I'm the Career and Mindset Lead at Tech Returners, and I do part of the program that you can potentially be part of if you decide to apply. So I'm joined today by several people from BAE Systems. You'll hear more from Andy, Paul, Abby, and Mel later on today. We'll ask them a couple of questions and you'll learn more about working in BAE, what that's like, and what opportunities there are available for you. And we also have some fantastic members of our team, tech coach Simon and Leslie, who is doing the applications and recruitment side of things. So you'll hear more from them as well today on the webinar. So because we have this 1 hour today, I'll get started in a second. If you have any questions, there is a Q&A button at the bottom, so you can drop them there anonymously, or if you want to post them in the chat, that is also an option as well. So at the very end, we'll have a Q&A for yourself. So if you have anything that Paul, Andy, Mel, and Abby haven't answered or something that we haven't mentioned, we will address that. So please feel free to drop those questions and we'll make sure to address them at the end. So I would ask if everyone can turn off your cameras, make sure you're muted so that we can deliver the best experience, and we're going to get started. Thank you very much with that. So let me know. I hope you can see my screen all right. And welcome once again to our webinar. So this program is in collaboration with BAE Systems, and you'll hear more from them, as I said, towards the end of the webinar. So very quickly, what we're going to be covering today, I'll do a very brief introduction about Tech Returners, who we are, what we do, and then we're going to give you a bit more information about the program. So that includes both what is included in there technically, and not just that, but also how the program runs, so you can make sure that you know what you're applying for. After that, you will be able to meet the people from BAE Systems Digital Intelligence, and you'll hear from Leslie on how to apply and application criteria as well. And as I mentioned before, we'll finish with a quick Q&A at the end. So in here, you can see Becky and James, who are the co-founders of Tech Returners. They set up the company in 2017, and their mission was really to remove the barriers that people wanting to enter or return to the tech industry were facing. Since then, we have run a number of different programs. We've created a lot of resources and tools to help people to reignite their careers back into technology. So, as I mentioned, in 2017, the company was founded. There were 2 trial cohorts with AO, AutoTrader, and Think Money. Afterwards, for the next 2 years, we run a program called Your Journey into Tech, and we work with partners such as Lloyds Bank, AutoTrader, and Infinity Works, and BBC as well, to help increase the diversity into technical teams. In 2020, we decided to launch our flagship Your Return to Tech program, and we have run a number of successful programs with hiring partners such as BAE Systems, Nando's, The Telegraph, Booking.com, The Guardian, and many, many more. That was also when a lot of us joined the company, and we have continued to make a lot of changes and improvements to the program to make sure we support you as returners in the best possible way. Now we're in 2023, and we have had a very exciting rebrand. So our program is now called simply the Tech Returners program, because we found that everyone was referring to that in that way. And our most recent hiring partners also include companies like Hastings Direct as well. For this program, BAE Systems have returned as a hiring partner for our program launching this August. In terms of who you can expect to meet if you do join the program, you'll be able to meet most likely Leslie and maybe Matt as well as part of the application and recruitment process. After that, we have a fantastic team of technical coaches. So Neil, who is the head of returner programs, and then Ellie, Simon, Hannah, and Alex, who deliver really amazing sessions and support you throughout the journey. Myself and my colleague Georgia, we cover the non-technical side of the program. So this is called Career and Mindset Management as part of the program. And we're also really supported by a lot of people that are working behind the scenes to make sure that we can deliver those programs in the best possible way. So Carrie and Roxy supporting from an operations standpoint of view, Tom, who is our community lead, Emily, who is the senior account manager, and then our fantastic marketing team of Emma, Robin, and Amy, who make sure that you hear about the program and you can join us in the right time. So the reason why you're probably here is you want to learn a bit more about the Tech Returners program and what it is. So it is a 13-week program and it is free, and that is made possible by our collaboration with BAE Systems Digital Intelligence. In terms of the technical side of things, this program is going to cover Java and front-end content, and Simon will tell you a little bit more about the specifics that he and the team are going to teach you. And this program truly is not just a technical program, it's a mix of technical coaching and career and mindset coaching. And that is, I think, what makes us unique and really providing the best care for you while on the program and helping you to return to tech. In terms of some statistics, since the program has launched, over 145 people have completed the program, and over 117 of them have been in employment due to the program, which I think is absolutely fantastic in terms of both human impact and economical impact, bringing people who are highly skilled back into the industry. And in here, you can see one of my first cohorts that I had the pleasure to support, which is the Booking.com January cohort in their offices on their first day. In terms of impact, you can see that like the average salary increase for someone returning back into tech has been around £80,000, which I feel is absolutely fantastic for anyone who wants to go back on that journey. And just last year, in terms of the salaries that people cumulatively got, was about £2.5 million back into the economy. And probably the fact I'm personally very proud of hearing was that 92% of people on the program reported an increase in confidence, and that is due to the overall work that our team does before, during, and after the program. So what can you expect? I really like to see that as a mutual commitment. So what we commit from our side is to deliver a free program to really upskill and develop you both technically and also personally. And for this specific program, you'll also get a guaranteed job interview with our hiring partner, BAE Systems Digital Intelligence, who are in the defense sector. And you'll be able to learn a little bit more about the company, what they do, and how they support returners towards the end when we'll be chatting with them. From your perspective and kind of what we really want from you in terms of commitment is to make sure that you complete the full program. And that includes about 30 to 35 hours per week in terms of both sessions and individual work that you can do in your own time. And we really want to ensure that if you are on the program, you have decided you're determined to transition back to your career in technology. So I'll pass on to Simon right now, who can tell you a little bit more about the program, how we teach, and the sessions and the team. So Simon, over to you.
Thank you very much, Millie. Yeah, my name is Simon. I am one of the tech coaches here at Tech Returners. So we're going to take you through some of the ways that we teach and kind of some details about the sessions and about the program itself, the kind of content you are to expect for this particular program. So we teach, it's all remote, and the delivery of all the sessions is done through Zoom, which we also record the sessions so you can watch them back at your own leisure if you'd like to recap over any of the topics. We use Google Classroom to track assignments and submissions, to give out our materials and our assignment briefs. It's all done in there. That's where we provide you feedback as well, in sort of comment boxes with on Google Classroom. We do have a good mixture of individual work. Also, you'll be working in small groups and pairing. So whether it's coding tasks or whether it's group projects or research tasks or discussions, things like that, it's a good mixture of individual work and working with other people. It's really good to practice those skills of communication and working with others. We also have a dedicated cohort Slack channel, which is kind of for you really to kind of discuss, to share ideas. We understand that on our programs, we get a variety of people with different backgrounds, different experiences and things like that. And it's really good to share knowledge. So it's really exciting for us to see the cohorts actually kind of taking it upon themselves to just kind of have those kind of discussions and organize kind of ad hoc mobbing and pairing sessions. It's really good getting involved in that kind of way. And also we'll communicate with you through that channel too. We do have support, so we can, if you need extra help, things like that, we've got our Slack messaging. You can just message us directly or message the group of coaches. And also we can jump on Zoom calls for any kind of individualized support that you may need. But yes, we like to provide throughout the program some very clear and actionable feedback. I mean, the whole process of learning, it kind of gears itself around feedback being incredibly important for your kind of progress. So we do like to provide as much feedback as we can, and that comes in a variety of forms as well throughout the program, whether it's going to be written, whether it's verbal, whether it's more kind of discussion based, or maybe we'll record a little video to kind of help you out. Okay, so the projected session timings, you'll find that we won't have any sessions that begin before 10 a.m. and usually they won't finish after 3 p.m. because we understand that everybody has a life around this and trying to fit in things such as sort of family duties, maybe dropping off your kids and picking them up afterwards, or other kind of work commitments that you may have around it. So typically our sessions are between 10 and 3 p.m. We have the career mindset sessions as well as the tech sessions on here, which are there to kind of help and guide you. I mean, Millie will go a little bit more into what's involved with those later on. And the typical sort of days per week, between 3 and 4 days. We kind of, sometimes you'll have sessions in both the morning and afternoon. Sometimes it might be just a session in the morning, and then you're given the afternoon to kind of work on your assignments or pair or work in groups. So yeah, that leaves you the rest of the time to work through those exercises. But the time commitment we expect from each of our cohort members is around 30 to 35 hours per week. That's the session time plus any kind of time outside of the sessions that you need to work on any of the labs or assignments or anything else. Totals around 30 to 35 hours. And this program start date, the important thing, Monday, the 14th of August is when the pre-journey phase of the program is due to start. So we'll have a little look shortly at what's actually involved in each of the different phases of the program. But yes, this is our team. Millie introduced some of these before. We have Neil, who's our head of returner programs, and then the other tech coaches, myself, Ellie, Hannah, and Alex, who are there to help and guide you through the program, provide you with all the support that you need for your progress through this program. So in terms of the phases of the program, it's split quite nicely into kind of 4 sections, I suppose. We have the pre-journey, which is an initial kind of part of the course within the first week, where we look at kind of knocking off the cobwebs and doing some technical kind of refreshers in terms of some of the syntax. We've got some really good coding exercises. We look at some of the topics on version control, HTML, code quality, things like that, just kind of get you warmed up for kind of the main content of the program. Then we will move on to the software fundamentals. And this part of the program, we start to dive into the Java aspects and look at modern and advanced Java techniques and syntax. We look at OOP principles and make sure we've got those kind of principles nailed down. We start to dive into software testing and test-driven development. And then we go into algorithms and debugging and testing APIs. So that's all within the sort of fundamentals part. Then the kind of start to build upon that understanding and knowledge with in the back end section. So we've got coding kata challenges. Those kind of go all the way through the program, the coding kata challenges. These are just to keep you kind of sharp on your algorithms and coding skills. We look into databases. We'll be using PostgreSQL, HTTP, API design. So we'll be using Spring Boot for our sort of back-end framework, looking at middleware and authentication, design patterns in software, systems architecture, and we'll be looking at sort of containerization and deploying to the cloud as well as part of this back-end section of the program. And then there's a few weeks on front end. So obviously, front end is quite a vast subject. We'll be touching upon quite a few of these topics throughout that. So basic HTML, basic CSS. Obviously, both of those are quite a vast subject. So in the time that we have for front end, we won't be going too deep into that, but we'll be looking at TypeScript and React mainly, and be able to build our front end pieces of applications using the React framework, being able to make all the components, the reusable components and things like that. So we'll be diving into that. There's some other bits with the front end plus a group project. So looking at the wider front end context. So there's lots of other front end frameworks that are available. So obviously, these have been created to solve certain problems. So what problems exist? What problems do they solve? And then one of the most fun parts, and probably my favorite part of the program, is the group project, where all of the understanding and knowledge throughout the program, through your own experiences, through experiences of a small team that will put you in, will give you a brief, and then we'll give you I think it's about 10 days or so, just over a week, to get together and create within your small group a project to present the week after. So this will be a full stack application with a backend written in Java and a front end written in TypeScript and React. So in terms of what to expect throughout the program, we have homeworks, which are either going to be in this sort of form of a guided lab, which will be essentially just instructions on how to do a certain process or achieve something. And with that usually builds upon the knowledge that you've had in a session that day and feeds into the session for the next day or that week or the next week, just to kind of give that kind of flipped learning. So you have that knowledge and understanding going into the session. We also have some milestone assignments, which are kind of the ones that after a couple of weeks of each of these topics and subjects, we kind of give you a bigger, meatier assignment to complete, which is always really good. We'll have also some code seminars to present and talk through your assignment results and the code that you've created for your applications as well. But yeah, we have research-based questions. There'll be some research within the sessions themselves, where you'll get together in a small group and kind of find out about certain topics, present that back to everybody else as well as pairing and small group projects. But yes, it's not just technical coaching, and I'm going to hand you back over to Millie.
Thank you very much for this overview, Simon, and I hope you found some answers and a little bit more depth into what the program is actually going to cover technically. So you're going to get a lot of technical coaching, as you have seen, and that will definitely help you to feel a lot more confident when it comes to going for interviews. However, we do realize as well that some of you may have been out of your career for a while, and so you may not necessarily feel very comfortable or confident right now going to interviews, talking about yourself, presenting yourself, right? And so if that is the case, I just want to say that's completely normal. And a lot of the returners that come to us and through our programs start at that exact same place. And we're here to support you with that and help you to rebuild that confidence. So alongside the technical sessions, you're going to have a dedicated career and mindset coach and support to make you feel ready for going to those interviews. And so the lead coach for this program is going to be Georgia, and I will be supporting as well in some of the sessions. So how do we actually support you? So initially, we go through sessions on topics such as the growth mindset, how to build your confidence, setting goals, how to learn better as an adult, and build also emotional resilience. So really, this part here is not just about preparing you for interviews, it's about building those life skills as well that are going to support you in your future career as well. And alongside that, we include a lot of interview preparation and coaching. So we're going to make sure you feel very comfortable and confident answering different interview questions, presenting yourself and your past experience in the best possible way. And really, from my experience working with probably over 200 people right now, each of you will have your own unique story. And myself and George are here to really help you recognize the value of your experience, your career break, and how to talk about that in the best possible way for yourself. On top of that, we also, because we've joined North Coders earlier this year, we now have Danny on our team as well, who is our Wellbeing and Pastoral Officer. So Danny has a background in accessibility, mental health, and safeguarding. And so if at any point throughout the program you feel like there is anything that you want to discuss with a wellbeing professional, she's also there to talk and support you through that. So we've now reached a very exciting part where we're going to be talking to our hiring partners from BAE Systems Digital Intelligence. So we are joined today by Paul Bolton, who is the Lead Capabilities Business Manager, and Andy Wilson, who is the Engineering Lead. We also have Abby and Mel, who about 2 years ago were in that exact same position as yourselves. They were returners who have been through our program, and I'll share a little bit more about their experience. So if Paul, Andy, Abby, and Mel, if you can turn on your cameras, and I will be asking you a couple of questions. So this first one really is for you, Paul, and then Andy as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about BAE Systems Digital Intelligence and what this area of the organization does?
Paul, do you want to pick up on that one?
Helps if I come off mute. Hello, everyone. Hello, thanks, Millie. Sure. I mean, I'll start with BAE Systems because you may have heard of that brand before, and wouldn't be surprised because we're one of the largest employers here in the UK. We employ over 80,000 people across 40 countries worldwide. And the BAE Systems is a large, stable, blue chip organization. And we primarily deliver into the defense sector through air. So we make the fast jets and the planes, and we teach pilots how to fly them, and we teach the maintenance crews how to fix and maintain those aircraft. Maritime sector, we make submarines in the UK. We also make ships and aircraft carriers for the UK, a large part of our business. So BAE Systems as a brand, as a defense company, is a huge organization. Our part is called Digital Intelligence, and we're much smaller than that. We're, as it says on the screen there, we're about 4,500 people plus. And what we specialize in is supplying cyber intelligence and security capabilities, mostly into UK government, but also into some of our international government partners as well. We also supply a number of space capabilities as well to support our government customers. So ultimately, our mission is to help protect the UK, help keep the UK safe, and help keep society safe as a whole. That's our mission here at Digital Intelligence. Do you want to add to that, Andy?
Yeah, so I think in terms of talking about what we do with those areas of the business, so we work in a number of different sectors. So clearly we've talked about defence, but we do also support law enforcement, national security. We also help critical national infrastructure, telecommunications, and it's all about being close to those organisations, helping them with their really thorny, knotty problems, and really working close to their mission. So we're talking about data analysis platforms, we're talking about protecting and securing networks, secure communications, and we work across a sort of diverse set of not only sort of services based, but products as well. So we've got our own internal products that we develop and that we sell into those organizations. And so it's a sort of real mix of sort of working alongside those customers, helping them with their problems, embedding in their teams in some instances, but also looking to how we can help integrate those solutions that we've got into their environment and help them ultimately protect not only sort of the UK but also international governments as well. So a real sort of breadth of what we do, but it is very much focused on that sort of data, digital and cyber aspect. So
fantastic. Thank you very much, Bob, for sharing that, and really, really appreciate that. I'll just make sure to bring us all in here so people can see your faces as well, like when you're answering. So the next question I have actually is for you, Paul, because it's actually, as I mentioned earlier on, the second time that BAE Systems is actually working with tech returners, which is very, very exciting. So from your perspective, what value does BAE Systems recognize in returners?
Well, here at BAE Systems, I mean, we invest in talent from everywhere. So from underrepresented groups, from early careers, from career switches, people returning to technical careers. Not only is it the right thing to do, but I mean, the truth is we need you. We need your talent. Our customers need your talent. There's a critical, everywhere you look, there's a critical shortage of tech skills globally, and we really need you to rejoin your career in the technology sector. And we're so happy to be partnering with Tech Returners again, and an organization like Tech Returners who've got a track record of not only finding talent like you, but also really supporting you back into the sector. And everybody needs different levels of support, and an organization like this just really help with that transition back into employment. And we've really found, working with tech returners and people returning into their careers here, I mean, they're so highly motivated. They offer a fresh perspective. They're so driven. We're really excited to be working with tech returners again, and we can't wait to meet you all.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing that, Paul. And I hope people can feel as well like your passion and excitement for bringing more diverse talent as well back into the workplace. So the next question I have is actually for our lovely returners, Abby and Mel. So Abby, like if you can go first, from your perspective as a returner, can you share a little bit more about your experience on the Tech Returners program?
Yeah, so with Tech Returners, obviously, I'd had a lengthy break from work, full-time work anyway. I did a few short contracts and that's about it. I had about 10 years between actual salaried work, and that's a really massive break. So I found it really difficult to try and get back. And so with Tech Returners, you can get all the information off the internet, but with Tech Returners, they gave me like a really good overview and showed me how all the bits join up, because that's something you just can't really get off the internet. And so I think another thing that was really good was the confidence building, because after that lengthy break, it's really difficult to go into an interview confidently and tell them what you can do.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And it's really amazing to hear kind of from your perspective, coming from quite a lengthy break, as you say yourself, what you've gained from the program. I would love to hear from Mel as well. From your perspective, Mel, how was it? How was the program, and kind of what was your experience like?
Yeah, so Tech Returners was really great for me. I originally qualified in IT, did a degree, I worked in IT in the commercial sector in the UK and abroad, and then had a break from IT for caring responsibilities. And when those lessened, I was keen to get back into technology, and it was just finding a way to do that. And Tech Returners was a bit of a godsend in that way, because it sort of provided all the technical skills, so all the projects that you can sort of build up a sort of portfolio, but also just provided, like Abby was saying, the confidence building skills to put yourself out there again, and sort of apply for to get used to interviews and build a returner profile. So yeah, I found it really helpful, and also gained a great community, which we're all sort of very much still in touch. Abby and I are in a WhatsApp group, and that was really helpful for learning.
Absolutely. And I feel like the community element of it, where you get to meet other people who you will be also working with potentially, I think this is very, very powerful to build your network kind of coming back into the tech industry as well. Thank you both for sharing that. Now, my next question is for you, Andy, because we already started seeing some questions in the chat around how many roles are available, interviews and things like that. I know this is on everyone's mind. So as I shared, anyone completing the program will get an interview with yourselves. Can you just explain a bit more about the roles that are available and the interview process in brief?
Sure. So clearly, the organisation scale that we've got sort of a huge breadth of sort of projects that we have on offer. And they could vary from sort of small research tasks to sort of big programs of work where you've got, tens of hundreds of engineers. So it is really sort of diverse and broad in terms of that. But I guess some of the more typical sort of types of projects that we're looking at are more sort of focused on software engineering teams, agile scrum-based teams, maybe sort of 5 to 10 people. And we like to build teams in that way so that we can sort of have close-knit communities that can sort of really interact and sort of support one another closely. So and those teams are typically very sort of keyed into the customer, have very good close relationships with the customer. In fact, our customers are actually asking for much more of a sort of partnership, bringing engineering teams much closer to their core missions. They've got a real understanding of what the products and services they're building, and the impact that it has to the users, because they often typically are the individuals that know how to sort of bring that capability to bear. So really sort of close, intimate relationship with the customers, and the whole teams are sort of supportive in terms of you've got a spread of knowledge within the teams. You'll have sort of software engineers, technical team leads that will help support you and guide. Often you'll have input from sort of solution architects and scrum masters and that type of thing as well. So you have a sort of units, team units that really help and support one another. And I guess in terms of the interview that we look to run, so we very much like to have engineers from the area of the business come and interview that you'd like to be going into. It will be people that are doing the types of roles that you're looking to go into, albeit maybe more sort of senior and have a bit further on in the career. So we typically 2 senior engineers, and it's very much about conversational and just trying to get the best out of the candidate, and really just sort of understand background, previous experience, so that we can sort of get an indication around sort of where you might fit into sort of our career framework. We will ask some sort of technical questions, but it's not going to be sort of getting you running through a coding exercise or anything like that. What we're really looking for is sort of aptitude in terms of problem solving, passion about technology, interest in technology, and passion to learn, because technology is ever changing, and we're really looking for people that are just excited to learn new things, and are happy and comfortable with with the unknown and picking things up, because pretty much the only constant is that things will change. So that's really what we're looking for. And we'll also give you an opportunity to ask, senior engineers in the business you'll be going into a bit about what their experiences in the organisation as well.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And that was a lot of detail that you were able to share about like what you're looking for and how it looks like. And if you do join the program, there will be some more tailored sessions where we'll be able to go into a lot more detail around specific process dates and things like that. So here is an overview of what it's going to look like over the next couple of months. So Abby and Mel, like we've heard a little bit more about your experience on the program and like the things you felt you learned and took away from it. So I would love to ask you, what is life like for you right now at BAE Systems, and why would you encourage maybe someone who is now thinking of applying? What would you say to them? Abby, let's go with yourself first.
Okay. So with BAE Systems, my favorite thing is that it's flexible. So I can go get my kids. No one expects me to be in the office the whole time. I can work from home a lot. I only go to the office about 4 times a month, which should go in a bit more, but I've got kids and things, and that's a bit harder. Everyone's very friendly. I'm learning all the time, and it's really good as a company. Yeah.
Fantastic. Like, what would you say maybe to someone who's considering applying, but is maybe on the verge of like, do I submit or not?
You'd be quite crazy not to. It's quite difficult getting back into work without like an extra course that you can say you've done this and you've done well and you get the confidence. And I found it actually quite impossible to get back into work without this.
Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, like I love your perspective on that as well. And it's really great to hear all of the amazing things BAE Systems has been able to offer you to support your return into tech. Now, Mel, from your perspective, what is life like right now for you at BAE Systems Digital Intelligence?
Yeah, so like Abby, I found BAE Systems, very supportive employer. Like from day one, I had some mentoring. I'm sort of in a Scrum team on a large project, and I had a mentor there to kind of help with any questions, and that was really helpful. The rest of the team and the tech lead are also incredibly supportive. So you never sort of feel like you're stuck on anything, and we all just sort of work as a whole. You're also kind of given time to do coding and do the problem solving. Sort of not too micromanaged, as it were. I find it really good. Also, there's a really good management structure. So we have a tech lead that's overseeing the work coming to the team. That we can go to with any questions. We also have career managers and they're quite keen for you to put yourself forward for promotions and do stretch goals, and they oversee your performance. So I found it a really supportive employer. So yeah, really great.
Amazing. Love hearing that. And I love that you're both supported technically and in terms of like progressing your career further. So Mel, from your perspective, if someone is on the verge of applying, what would you say to them?
Definitely. Second what Abby said, just go for it. You've got nothing to lose, you've got everything to gain. So it's really, really helpful. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you both very much. And thank you to Andy and Paul. If you can all like stay in here, because I've seen quite a lot of questions that I think you're at the best place to answer. So now, if everything we've shared so far sounds exciting to you, it's time to hear a little bit more about the application process. So I'll just welcome Leslie to share a little bit more about how to apply, deadlines, process criteria, and so on. Over to you, Leslie.
Hi, everyone. So during the application process, you may hear from me or another member of our team. So let's go through the different steps and what you can expect. The first step is to apply. register yourself on our platform, and then book an introduction call. A member of our team will then call you. So that will be a telephone call to say hello, introduce ourselves, and get you feeling more comfortable. We will ask you about your current situation, past experience in the tech industry, and make sure that you meet the criteria, as we need to pass the UK security clearance for this program. Then talk to you about how the recruitment process is going to happen. I want you to know that we run several types of programs with different criteria, which means if you don't meet the criteria for one program, you may meet the criteria for another one. I also want to let you know that you will always need to live in the UK, have the right to work in the UK, and have a career break from the tech industry of a minimum 6 months. That will be a great opportunity during that call for you to ask any questions you may have ahead of those interviews and about the program. It's absolutely fine if you feel nervous and need a bit of reassurance. This is why we are here, and we really want to help you. So ask us anything. After that, if you meet the criteria, you are still keen to proceed with your application, you will be put through the next stage, which is a technical task. I want you to know that there is nothing to be scared about. It's a technical task just to let us know your level of coding. The technical task will be a mix of coding and non-coding questions. The non-coding side will be a few written questions about your approach to software development. We simply want to understand your thought process and opinion. The coding part will have to be completed in the specific language of the program you're applying for. So for this program, you need to complete the task in Java. There are some other guidelines about the technical task, but I won't go into much more detail now. A member of our team will be able to guide you during the introduction call. Afterwards, a member of the delivery team will review the technical task, and if it's in line with what we are looking for, you will then be invited for an online interview. The interview will be 45 minutes long and remote. It will be done on Zoom like we are now. It's very nice and relaxed. You can grab something to drink, and it's just a time for us to get to know you better. We will ask you a few questions about the career you've had, some situations that you may be dealing with while you were in your career, and how you handle them, and the skills you have developed during your career and your break. You'll also have the opportunity to ask us any questions about the program, and that will be a great opportunity for us to start building that relationships with you. All our interview process are designed to be super supportive. We send you lots of information before each step via email. We give you PDFs, videos, and we are always just a phone call or an email away if you need some extra support. Once you've been through all those processes, we'll then make a decision on whether we are going to offer you a place on the program. Once we've made that offer to you, you'll receive all the information you need to go further. So just a few things I want to say. First of all, believe in yourself. It doesn't matter whether you have been out of the tech for a bit or quite a while. The length of your break is not the reason for it. Does not determine your future and what is possible for you. Be confident and fill out the application form. A lot of you may have not done an interview in a while, and that's completely okay. We are all really nice, and we want you to be in this program. So if you are, we are here to support you. Now, in terms of the closing date, we do close on Sunday, 30th of July at midnight. So please get those applications before then. We really want to see them and speak to you all. And if you just need more information before you submit your application or need more support, please send us an email. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Actually, there was a question around eligibility criteria or can anyone join? So we do have a little bit more information. Do you want to share a bit more about that with people so that they know kind of what those criteria are?
So to work at BAE Systems, you will need to pass the UK security clearance. That's why we've got those criteria to meet for this program. So you will need to be a UK national citizen or got a dual passport. You must be living in the UK and have the permanent right to work in the UK. You need to be living continuously in the UK for the last 5 years with no break more than 6 months. And you must agree to a check of any criminal convictions you might have had, including spent and unspent conviction. So, and you must agree to a check of credit and financial history with a credit reference agency.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. And as Leslie said as well, for this program, there are slightly more strict criteria, but if you still feel like you want to apply, please make sure to submit your application. And even though this may not be the right program for you at this very moment, we still may be able to redirect you to any of our future programs as well. But if you do cover the criteria, we really want to see your applications in so that we can support you with your return to tech. Now, we're going to move to the Q&A portion. And I think, again, I'll stop sharing my screen because I just feel like it's a lot better if we can see each other in that way. So the one question that we actually had in our Q&A box, and maybe Paul, Andy, this one is for you. Someone is asking whether they can apply from Cardiff to roles and whether you have fully remote or offices in Cardiff.
We don't have an office in Cardiff for digital intelligence. So our two primary locations we're hiring into from this program are Gloucester, which is Gloucester Business Park. So it's just easily accessible from the motorway, and it's about halfway between Gloucester and Cheltenham. Which, to be honest, in the southwest, you can base yourself anywhere. I mean, I live in Bristol. It takes me about 40 minutes to commute to Gloucester. And lots of people who want to live in the countryside live around the Cotswolds and commute in. But so we do have people from Cardiff, from Wales that do work in our Gloucester office. And the other location we're primarily recruiting into from the program is Manchester. And we're about to open a new flagship office in the centre of Manchester, actually. So in September, we open a new office right in the heart of Manchester, a new 200-person office, and it's very swish and very swanky. So if you want to be based in Manchester, then yeah, you're going to be based in our newest flagship facility. I think in terms of when it comes to remote working and flexible working, yes, we offer hybrid working, but we say hybrid working because it really depends on what project you are working on and what the team behaviors are. And not all projects are the same. And you might find you're on one where it requires you to be in the office a bit more. And then your next project might not require you to be in the office very much. So on average, we say that people tend to work out the office 2 days a week. And that's an average, but people tend to come in and collaborate, meet their team, bounce ideas and innovate off people in the office, and then spend 3 days at home to do maybe do the coding with your headphones on, and that could be just something that you might want to do on your own, but on average it's about 2 days in an office and 3 days at home.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for clarifying that as well. So There were some questions in the chat that I just want to address. They're very quick ones. So is there like a minimum or maximum career break length? In terms of minimum, we always say like 6 months. That's what makes a returner. So anything above 6 months will make you eligible for this program. In terms of maximum career break, we have had returners with over 10 years. I think we heard from Abby as well that was kind of her career break. So honestly, whether you have 6 months, 5 years, 10 years, it doesn't matter. What we're looking for is your passion to return and rejoin the industry. In terms of eligibility, we've answered that question just now. So this one is maybe for you, I guess, Andy. If your previous experiences were not necessarily in Java, would it be okay to apply for the Java program? How would you answer that question from your perspective?
So that's a really good question. I think so. In terms of specific skills, we don't really look for a specific language. Java is a good language to sort of learn the sort of foundational concepts of sort of object-oriented programming and some of those key coding principles. And it is a language which you probably see more frequently than some other languages. But I think what is quite consistent across a lot of our projects is that actually we've got quite a diversity of languages, and actually it's more important that you're happy to understand the core principles, but be able to sort of apply them maybe in a slightly different language or framework or what have you. So absolutely not core, a core strong background in Java is not necessary. It's about understanding those sort of core coding principles, and things around sort of quality and that sort of thing, and some of the softer side around working in teams and working together to sort of build solutions is really what we're looking at. And absolutely, you'll find you're working on a variety of different languages and technologies.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. And I feel like this is really important to emphasize that like software development is not just knowing one language, but is being able to transfer that knowledge and experience across. And that passion for learning and development is, I think, what makes someone a really good developer and engineer. So thank you for sharing that. Now, there was a question around what are some of the reasons why some people aren't employed after the program. And I guess that's referring to that slide that I shared at the beginning with some of our statistics. Now, we track people about like 6 months after the program. So we don't know, sometimes like people take a little bit longer to get back into the industry. So those numbers are usually probably closer to like 85–90% of the people that complete the program do find employment. Now, the other reason that I've seen personally, and that's very unfortunate sometimes when it happens, the people have, for example, their health deteriorating, or someone from their family maybe is fallen sick, and so they need to postpone their return to tech because of that responsibility. And we've had sometimes, like, it's very rare as well, some people would complete the program and decide, actually, it's not maybe the right time for me at this very moment to return into the industry. And that's, again, very much a personal choice as well that we cannot influence. But the majority of the people that complete the program, they do find employment, whether that is with our hiring partners or they go further on to explore other opportunities as well within tech. Simon, can you share, because I'm not exactly sure on the number of weeks that people will spend on backend?
Yeah, no problem. It's like 4 weeks. So as we go through the fundamentals, towards the end of that, we start to touch upon things like databases. So that starts to get into the backend topics, but the actual core kind of backend portion of the program is around sort of 4 weeks, plus then the sort of full stack project that we're going to give out as well. Obviously, that incorporates all of that. So the actual content, which is purely just backend, is 4 weeks.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. In terms of the course duration, it is 13 weeks in total, and it starts on the 14th of August. So you can calculate when that ends. I think it's around November time that we'll finish the program. So this one is for you, I guess, like Paul and Andy. How would you describe maybe the culture at BAE Systems? What would you say, like, you enjoy about working in there?
Good question. I take our culture for granted, but I'm going to spell it out, because what I've realised through working with bringing new people into our organisation is that not everybody's worked for a company like us, I'll describe it as being, well, what is it like? What does it feel like to work here? Well, I mean, it's okay to talk to the boss. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask anyone in the organization a question. It's okay to have an opinion that's different from other people, as long as you kind of express it with respect. It's okay to suggest improvements. You heard from Abby and Mel, it's okay to work flexibly. We really support people's lifestyles. It's okay to wear what's appropriate for your day and what you feel most comfortable in. We're not all in suits and ties. You wear what's appropriate for you. We're a very inclusive employer, and we take that very seriously. So it's okay to call out non-inclusive behaviour. Part-time, it's okay to have a career and work part-time. Ultimately, it's okay to be yourself. Bring your best self to work, and we'll support you in doing that. And that's kind of how I would describe what it feels like for me to work here. I don't know if Andy, how you find our culture.
Yeah, so obviously, everything that you've said there sort of resonates with me as well. I guess in terms of that sort of team dynamic, I guess for me, that's something that's absolutely sort of kept me here for so long. I've been here 13 years. In terms of, you're just around a bunch of like-minded individuals that are really sort of passionate and keen to basically do good for the customer. I mean, we work on projects which are really important and have a real sort of life impact in sort of securing and protecting the UK. And I think not every organization is fortunate enough to be involved in projects that are so important in terms of a mission perspective. So you get lots of people that are very passionate about doing the best they can do and supporting one another to do it. So it's absolutely not dog eat dog. Everyone's supportive. There are no silly questions, and that has been a consistent thread throughout my time at BAE. And it just makes it a really exciting and interesting place to work, where you're sort of constantly challenged, but in a supportive way, where you know that people have got your back if you can't do it or you fail. So for me, that's why I've stayed, and I've worked in a number of different areas, and it's been very consistent across the piece. So just a really great place to work in that regard.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you both for sharing that. In the interest of time, because I've seen there are quite a few questions, are you okay to stay for about 5-10 extra minutes to make sure we cover everything? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
So the next one is around how many roles are you hiring for at the moment? Paul, probably that's for you.
Sure. I mean, I think through this program, our expectation is that we'll take forward about 10 to 12 people, but we're not restricted. I mean, this year alone, just our team, we're hiring over 280 people this year, and that's about the same as we hired last year. As digital intelligence, as a company, we've hired over 1,000 people last year. So we're growing rapidly. We're accelerating in our growth. There is no shortage of work and roles here at BAE Systems Digital Intelligence. So don't be worried that there's only one role and you're all competing for it. That's not the case. If everybody gets through the program and you like us and we like you, then there'll be a place for you here.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. And kind of to follow up on that, kind of what level of roles are maybe available for people?
Sure. I mean, as I said, we've got so many roles that right across our organization. So from more junior people who are maybe less experienced, our sweet spot that we're hoping people on this call will join us then is really at our mid and more senior level positions. We're really expecting people to have a bit more experience to join us, because we take hundreds of people who are more earlier on in their career and future talent, and we need leaders like you to come in and help lead those teams of people and help bring your experience to bear, whether that be people management experience or technical experience. And you might not have it, might be a bit rusty if you've been out of action for a while, but you'll bring a different perspective to that, and you'll be able to form teams and lead them with us. So I mean, we have, and that's what the interview's about. we're trying to see where will you fit most comfortably into our organization, and not everybody will be joining at the same level, and that's okay. And we'll do our best to work with you to find out, whereabouts in our organization you'll fit. But there is no cap. We're not ruling anybody out because you're too senior or too junior.
I love that, and I feel like your approach to finding the right places for each person, I feel like that's fantastic and allows for a much more inclusive hiring process as well, rather than trying to fit people into one role, right? So Andy, there were a variety of different questions, but can you just summarize maybe from your perspective? There aren't really like specific languages or tools that you require people to know, from my understanding from what you've said, but what maybe skills, kind of technical and non-technical, would you say as a hiring manager, like engineering manager, what are you looking for if you would be speaking to someone?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think there's a few levels to it. So I guess in terms of the real technical side of things, we'd be looking at good understanding of overall software delivery lifecycle, and just have a full broad appreciation of that. Have an appreciation of development, but also testing and the role it plays in producing good software. Some of the wider pieces as well around how projects run, agile methodologies and that type of thing, how to do task management and that type of thing. In some of the tech skills, obviously base understanding of back end coding, but also front end technologies as well, which is why we've focused some of the curriculum around a combination of back end and front end, and it's really about that broad understanding, and over time you'll get that deep expertise in particular areas, but having a broad appreciation for the full stack really helps. We are seeing an increasing demand for cloud skills as well. It's not necessarily a requirement for this, but if you're interested in understanding or reading up on some relevant areas as well, we've got huge demand for cloud skills as well, and there's going to be lots of interesting projects going on in that space. So at least having an appreciation of cloud infrastructure and how it how you deploy to the cloud, and even maybe using cloud native architectures in your coding going forward is going to be key. As I say, it's not a key focus for this curriculum, and it's not necessarily necessary, but yeah, it's certainly an interesting area. And for us, software engineering is a team sport, so some of those softer skills around collaborating with others and helping others and working well as part of a team are just really important, almost more important than the tech side of things, because being able to interact with others, interact with your product owners and that type of thing are really key skills in order to have successful project delivery. So
fantastic. Thank you for sharing that from your perspective, Andy. And I'm sure it's been very helpful for people to hear. Please don't feel discouraged if you feel like I don't have all of those skills. A lot of those things are what the program is focused on building about. So if you don't know much about cloud infrastructure, there is a session on the program, like Simon mentioned, which will cover some aspects of that. And also you have a couple of months right now to kind of dive deeper into the space and learn and research a little bit more. And I'm sure from what I've heard, the company supports a lot of learning and development into those areas as well. Now, a couple of questions for you, Paul, I think in terms of security clearance, kind of what level is required, and also about the retirement age, if you could answer those questions.
Sure. On the security clearance point of view, so I think Leslie covered some of this, but and more information it will be available obviously after the call. But as a minimum, we require all of our employees to have UK security clearance, which is SC clearance. And Leslie went through the criteria there, that you do need to be a UK passport holder, you do need to have lived in the UK for 5 years, et cetera, et cetera. So the criteria is available, but in terms of DV clearance, We do have opportunities to sponsor staff through DV clearance. So once you've joined us, then there will be opportunities to go for a higher level of clearance, should you wish, but that's not mandated for this program. But to join BAE Systems and work for any kind of UK defence company like ourselves, we require UK security clearance.
Yeah, which absolutely makes sense, I think, at the level of work that you're doing. In terms of the compulsory retirement age, is that something that you have, or?
No, not at all. We'll anybody's welcome at any stage in their life. You can work as long as you're able. There's no mandatory retirement age now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think kind of the last question that we have is around salary ranges. I feel like from everything you've said so far, they're also so varied that you'll probably say something between 30 and 100K, which won't give people enough information. So I would suggest to keep that question for when you are on the program. When we have that kind of conversation much further on, we'll be able to provide you with probably a job description or some more information around what you can expect in terms of salary bandings, ranges, roles, and things like that. So I think that's as much as we can share at that early stage of the program. So thank you very much, Andy, Paul, Mel, Abby, and everyone from our wonderful team for making this happen, answering questions. I really, really appreciate everyone for being here. And thanks everyone for asking all of those fantastic questions. I feel like that's probably one of the best and kind of most active webinars we've ever had. So I'll just post in the chat to apply further. There is the link to our applications. Please do submit your application. Leslie will be in touch with you, and we can follow through that process to make sure you get on the program. And I really hope to see a lot of you in the next couple of weeks joining the program and then going through that as well. So fantastic. We'll be sending that recording shortly as well, so you can rewatch it if you have any questions. All right. Thank you very much for being here, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye, everyone.